Wow! New angle. I'm just kidding. That was quidge as fuck. But I don't need these. Why am I putting these in? What's up, guys? Welcome to Atlas ASMR. Today, I'm gonna touch the mic all over for no apparent reason. I turned it off. What's up, guys? It's Atlas here. We're in 2026. It's 2026. We're here. It don't feel different. We're gonna kick off this year with a brand new video. A couple of reminders before we get into this video, which you've already read the title and are my update video. It's gonna be talking about the paranormal in a lot of different contexts. Basically, if you're like, oh, I've heard the word thrown around, I want to have a better understanding. This is just going to be me talking about the aspects that I like from it. But if you're new, or just some reminders, new uploads on Saturdays every single week for 2026. And that's pretty much it. It's just the Saturday uploads. And obviously follow socials, but who gives a fuck, right? So, without further ado, actually, I do want to say this as well. My camera's up here. It used to be over here, which is why the angle's different. Because that's how cameras work. But if you see me looking here, that is the OBS equivalent of the viewfinder. So I'm gonna do my best to look here. A lot of the times I'm gonna look here. My script is right next to that. So, and it's a very loose script. But we're here. Let's get into it. No, don't do that. So the first thing in this video that I wanted to address is, what is the paranormal? I have the literal definition pulled up. You don't even need to Google it. So the definition of paranormal describes events, phenomena, or abilities that are beyond the scope of scientific explanation, such as ghosts, telepathy, and other purported supernatural or psychic occurrences. It is used to describe things that cannot be explained by known scientific laws and often falls in the realm of pseudoscience. Now, pseudoscience, the word in of itself, you're like, pseudo means fake. That's fake science, fake news. No, relax for 2 seconds, because I have the definition of pseudoscience for you. Pseudoscience is a system of theories, beliefs, or practices that are presented as scientific but are not based on the scientific method and lack rigorous evidence. It often mimics scientific language and format to appear legitimate, but its claims are typically vague, untestable, and not supported by evidence. Now you're hearing that as well. Oh, this is fake evidence. It's just the use of language and do this to convince you a certain way. To some people, yes. To others, like myself, no. The paranormal in of itself, in my opinion, a lot of this video is going to be my opinion and trying to explain to you, like, the belief in this. Yeah, it comes down to a lot of faith and your interpretation of evidence and other things. My belief in the paranormal comes from the fact that so many things have been caught on camera, first-hand witnesses, things like that just cannot be explained in any way, shape, or form. And sometimes, though, it is a controversial subject to talk about, like ghost TV shows and ghost YouTube channels and such, which we will get to later in this video, they do apply the scientific method in order to gain evidence that can explain that the paranormal is real, right? The term pseudoscience in this context is the fact that, once again, my opinion, is the fact that a lot of the things that can be captured can be explained in some way, shape, or form, and the use of the scientific method in these particular occurrences is what allows the evidence to be more convincing. And I've seen thousands of videos, I've seen episodes upon episodes of TV shows of evidence being gathered that truly cannot be explained. With that long-winded explanation out of the way, the bottom line take that you should take from this is the paranormal is events or phenomena or abilities that are beyond the scope of scientific explanation. Though yes, a lot of it does fall in the realm of pseudoscience and particular verbiage and words being used, that's where the controversial part comes in. Now, on my script, I wrote this weeks ago, maybe months ago. I literally put, please don't click off the video. It's heavily debated, skeptics versus believers. The word skeptic is basically you are skeptical of the paranormal, if you didn't get that. And obviously believers is you believe in the paranormal. I want to make this clear. This video is not to convince you what you should believe in. And I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you that the paranormal is real, because it's all up to personal interpretation of evidence. And if you don't care, then you don't care. That's how life works. Well, we could talk about that all the live long day. But if you don't care about the paranormal and you're watching this like, oh, you are eating right now. You, behind the screen, you're eating right now. The purpose of this video is to enhance understanding for those who want it. And also, it's for me to talk about something that I'm very passionate in, and I've been very passionate since day one. So I'm going to explain my personal point of view in a lot of this, and I'm going to try to preface all of those with, this is just my opinion. Because a lot of the term pseudoscience applies to a lot of this. But you should create your own opinions, and they should be informed. You should go out of your way to make sure that you are informed on a subject before you create an opinion about it. I would like to think that I am very informed. A lot of skeptics are very informed. I hope some of that made sense. If not, who cares? So now we're getting into my own theory on the paranormal. This video is specifically for ghosts and spirits and stuff like that. My own theory is the idea that we are energy, right? And we're not talking about religious stuff just yet. Our beings are souls, if you want to call it, basically what makes us us. We run on energy of some way, shape, or form, and the things we experience and the emotions and feelings, even though those are synonyms, all of that is energy to some degree. Have you ever been angry or sad? When you feel angry, you get that like surge. Like a lot of people when they work out, I used to do this. I don't do it a lot anymore. I would listen to music or listen to things or think about things that would make me upset so I can lift the heavier weight. It's the best way I can describe it, where it's like these emotions and actions have energy attached to them in some way, shape, or form. And I believe our environment, to a certain extent, can absorb it. For example, this is a personal anecdote, but you can apply it to a lot of different things. One of my good friends, he was a college roommate for many years. If you're watching this, you know who you are. And I'm sorry you have to find out this way. He was very religious, and he invited me to, I forget the type of celebration, but it was a celebration at his church where it was basically a church service. And I say celebration because I don't think it was a typical weekly Sunday church mass. And I remember when I went, and this is not, like I said, to put the religious in there, but I was very uncomfortable with the energy in the room because of the environment, and I felt so out of place. A skeptic would go, you're in a new environment, so you're obviously going to feel that way. But for me, it was, I was feeling the environment. I'm trying to put the feeling into words where it was like, it felt like a very pure place. And I don't want to put the idea that I'm not a pure person. I don't think anybody is, but it's to the extent where like you're getting into a bath, and the second you get into the bath, all of the dirt and soot on your body just like wafts off. Like you were, like if you jumped into a pool of mud, there's a big old baby pool of mud, you jumped in, and then you went and you jumped in like a swimming pool, all that mud goes to the surface. That's what I felt like, but like emotionally. Or a better example would be like the feeling you get in like a funeral space or a hospital space, being somewhere that you know you're not supposed to be, stuff like that. Like you feel the environment. It's very hard for me to describe. The energy of something that happens in an environment dictates how that environment feels. Sounds crazy. There's no evidence behind that, other than firsthand accounts of like paranormal investigators and stuff like that. So this could all be a bunch of hullabaloo that you don't have to take any stock into. But if you resonate with anything that I'm talking about, maybe I'm putting it into words that you haven't been able to do before. But to move on from my own energy theory, we're going to actually talk about ghosts and spirits. Now, the general belief for ghosts and spirits is that they are the manifestation of people who've passed on. And to a certain extent, yes, that is the case. To a certain extent, no, that is not the case. So, because this topic is so widespread, I don't think that's the correct word, but it's such a general topic to talk about spirits. I'm going to talk about the types of spirits. And I've done my best to put them into two categories. One of them heavily revolves around my own theory, which is why I brought that up first. And the other one does not and goes into the religious aspect, potentially, depending on how you feel. But the two types of spirits are residual and intelligent. I'll get better at this as we go. Residual and intelligent spirits. First, we'll go on residual because we already talked about energy. Residual spirits, or residual energy, typically manifests in a way where events are replaying with stimuli that our bodies are not capable of picking up at this time. Essentially, what I mean by this is there are a lot of places where very horrific or emotionally charged events happened. And these areas, a lot of the time, come back as haunted. When you think of a ghost, you think of an old-timey 1800s fella or fellista walking through, giving you a death stare, and then walking through a door, and you go check and you're like, who is this person? And they're gone. That can happen. I've heard that has happened in many places. The crux is the energy seeps into the wood, the stone, basically the entire environment, and at certain points, whether that's triggered or not, it will manifest in a way that reflects what happened in this environment. And they'll do so unintelligently. We'll get more into that as we talk about intelligent spirits, but they will not respond to you. If you have a device that allows spirits to speak through, they will not respond to your questions, but you'll hear footsteps. You might see people. You might get a certain feeling. Residual, when you, any ghost movie is talking about intelligent spirits, because residual is boring. If you investigate a spot that purely has residual energy, a lot of the times, at least in my own research and experience, there's not a lot of evidence that comes out of those. Intelligent is where the scary stuff can happen, potentially. But I have on here, they typically won't acknowledge your presence, and the same phenomenon will happen repeatedly. Maybe not back to back, but over time when things get recorded, they're like, oh, we hear footsteps, or we hear voices and stuff like that. It'll be the same thing. And that's why it's recorded that way. It can happen anywhere, but more often than not, it happens in places where traumatic or energized events occurred due to the intensity of the energy. This is all speculation. I'm going to remind you multiple times in this video. Residual hauntings are the best kind to have because it's not evil in nature. Residual is not the best place for investigations of that nature because intelligent is where scary stuff can happen. It's where a lot of religious talks happen, and a lot of the things that are widespread about the paranormal are based off of intelligent haunt, which we're going to get into. Intelligent hauntings are what is depicted most in pop culture. I think I already said that, but that is okay. I love saying things twice. There are many different types of intelligent hauntings. If you've ever played Phasmophobia, where you have to guess what the ghost is, or you have to figure it. I haven't played Phasmophobia, so forgive me. Which seems like an oxymoron considering how much I like this topic of conversation. And a lot of these different types are, they could be of personal cultures and belief systems, and they have different names, like a mimic or an elemental, if we're talking about Native American culture. Or there's demons and stuff like that. A lot of these terms you might have heard in many different contexts. But intelligent hauntings, more often than not, are sporadic. They're sporadic events that happen, and it's usually never one thing repeatedly. Now, I write this down. I don't know when I wrote it down, but I don't even believe it. I think I tried to create a wider gap. It can be something repeated, which makes residual versus intelligent more hard to discern without proper equipment. Because a lot of the times it is something that happens more than once. The difference being is a lot of the times it involves you, it involves me, it involves your buddy, it involves Fred, whatever. A lot of the times it is directed at you, which makes it intelligent. These types of hauntings, though popular media be damned, can be harmless, but they can also be very harmful, depending on personal beliefs and what is physically happening within the home slash place slash whatever. Here's where we get into religion. The paranormal itself is something that makes me believe in religion because of the amount of evidence that has been captured based on religious provocation. When you think of somebody being possessed, how do we fix that? We fix it through an exorcism of the Christian faith. A lot of the times. It's not 100%. There are other more spiritual ways to exercise spirits that are in oneself. But from what I've seen, a lot of it is of the Christian. I know that that's a wide net as well. This is very hard for me to bounce around, or to dance around, I should say. I'm not saying that it is the correct religion. In no context am I saying that. All I'm saying is the evidence that I've seen, a lot of like evil demonic hauntings respond to religious provocation in some way, shape, or form. And I think it's biased in America because America, I believe, I'm gonna Google this real fast before I start talking out of my ass. The most prominent religion in America. I spelled America wrong. Christianity. So I was correct. I think it is location bias because Christianity is the most prominent religion where I live, which is America. But I've seen cases where like a Native American ritual, like Native American rituals were able to cleanse spirits, other religions. So it's not just Christianity. But I have to say this because in my experience, it has been Christianity based religions. All in all, it's up for personal speculation, personal beliefs, and whatnot. I know I keep saying that, but I'm trying to reiterate. The types of things that can happen with intelligent hauntings are staggering. I'll bring up a few. I've seen cases of footsteps, voices caught on camera, apparitions caught on camera. Apparition is seeing somebody who's not really there. They manifest their physical form through camera equipment and the personal eye. I've seen the physical space around somebody be manipulated physically like a poltergeist, like Peeves from Harry Potter. I've seen physical scratches, which is also part of the Christianity talk, where common, though it is rare, but the most common thing that I've seen is 3 scratches on somewhere in your body, which is supposed to be a mocking of the Holy Trinity. The same thing with like 3 knocks or screaming on an EVP recorder and stuff like that. A lot of these words that I'm saying, I can make another video about them, and I'm trying to make this not like a 45-minute video of me ranting, even though I already feel like I'm ranting to a certain extent, and I have pointed points. Basically, anything that you've seen depicted in pop culture media, within reason, can happen with these intelligent hauntings. And these don't have to just be demonic or evil in nature. They can be normal. I've seen many cases where it's been, a spirit that had a message that they just wanted to get out, and they've been trying to essentially get somebody's attention, but they can't manifest fully to the point where they can just show up and be like, hey, I have something I want to tell you. It's all for personal speculation. I highly recommend, if you found any enjoyment in this video, find a YouTube channel. There's a lot of small ones that I've seen going around of local groups where they'll record their investigations and then they'll cut them together to give you the best evidence that they capture. And they'll go to very, very scary locations. But the biggest ones that I know of, Sam and Colby, they were previously on Vine and now they're making paranormal investigation content, though they might have moved away from that. I could be completely wrong on that. There's the Paranormal Twins. So it's 2 twins and then I think their friend. They basically do what Sam and Colby do, but they kind of fully dive into it. A TV show that I like, though it's controversial because of the guy, the host, Ghost Adventures. I grew up watching that show, so I have a full bias. I have a full bias against it. But I personally think that the evidence that they capture is real. So I highly recommend those channels, or anybody that you personally like that does this. If you trust them, watch a video and think about this one. Just be like, oh, that could be this, and you'll learn more about like the spiritual culture, and it'll open your eyes in a lot of different ways. Now, that is all I have to talk about. Though this is my first time recording a video like this feels anticlimactic. Let me know if you want another video like this. This could have been too rambly, and I might have to put more structure into it. I'm figuring it out as I go. Let me know if you want another video like this. I have a video idea talking about the history of psychics, like psychic mediums and tarot that, claim they can see spirits or speak to spirits. And there have been many accounts where it is unexplained, but psychics have correctly predicted the future or correctly predicted, something in some way, shape, or form. And though I don't know if tarot is a part of that, I added that as well. So if you want another video, I can talk about psychic mediums and maybe tarot as a separate video or in the same video, depending on how close the topics are. Or I can make another video of my own personal paranormal experiences, because I have a lot. My most prominent one, I kind of just stumbled upon, and I went and did the whole kit and caboodle of successfully confirming that what I experienced was impossible, other than what is happening in my own brain. So, and it's a very interesting story, at least in my opinion. So if you want to hear that, I can make another video on that. But if you like this video and are excited for what 2026 brings, please leave a like, comment your own paranormal experience. If you got to this point, I'm not going to do the word thing, but if you got to this point, thank you. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you watching this video all the way through, and I love you to death. Subscribe if you like these videos. Let me know what I can do better. Any sort of communication would be great. But obviously, you do what you gotta do. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching this video. And I'll see you next week on Saturday. Peace.